So there are rumors going around online that Phantasy Star Online 3 is quite possibly in development. This is something that I read somewhere on Reddit. It said that a credible Sega insider reported that Phantasy Star Online 3 is in development, and it said that this same individual had leaked snippets for trailers like the Jet Set Radio remake, and he actually got it right. So it makes me think that, maybe Sega is planning on doing something big with the Fantasy Star Online series. And the reason I say that is because the very first Fantasy Star game that came out was back in 1987, and next year is going to be its 40-year anniversary. And back in the day, Fantasy Star was more of a it was more of a traditional RPG for the most part. It didn't really start getting big as an MMORPG or a MMO type of video game until like I guess like 2000 onwards, because Fantasy Star Online came out back in 2000, I think, and Fantasy Star Online 2 came out back in 2012, and then we got the updated version of that, which was Fantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, which came out back in 2021. And as far as popularity is concerned, I feel like the Fantasy Star series in general has been more popular in Japan and over in the East than has been in the West. If anything, I feel like Fantasy Star appeals to like a niche audience of gamers in the West because I guess it's not cool enough, and I don't know, like what like culture, Western culture is very different than that of Eastern culture. People's preferences and their likes and their dislikes. People are more into like M-rated like video games and adult themed, mature type of stuff, opposed to Fantasy Star, because I feel like at best like that franchise could be like T-rated, but honestly, it's mainly designed for kids. And you look at Fantasy Star Online 2, it originally came out back in 2012, and there had been like 6 episodes released between 2012 and 2019. So obviously, Sega did everything they could to milk as much out of it as they possibly can. And it was revealed a couple of years ago, back in 2021, that that Fantasy Star Online 2 had made over $900 million. So honestly, in the long term of things, that game actually ended up being a massive success, and I think yeah, it did like roughly. I won't even say roughly, but I don't know. It's like 100 million away from reaching $1 billion in terms of like revenue. So that's actually impressive, and it shows that there's still money to be made, and there's still appeal to the Fantasy Star series. It's just that I feel like it's more with the East than it is the West, and and you look at Fantasy Star Online too. It was one of the like few major MMORPGs of the early teens, because there was like a lot of things you could do in this. You can choose your character class, you can choose your name, your gender. The customization suite was amazing. That's what people liked about it. The open world designs and all that other stuff. The online gameplay. That was back when MMORPGs were still really popular, and I feel like the landscape of gaming has changed significantly since then. So MMORPGs aren't as popular now as they were back in the day. But if we are getting a Fantasy Star Online 3 sometime in the future, I still feel like it has the potential to be a big attraction, only because Fantasy Star is considered to be a legendary IP. It's like newer IPs have a harder time, getting over with casuals and developing into a video game series. And if we do get another Fantasy Star Online game, I don't think that's going to have that type of problem. Um, and people will point back to Fantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, and they'll say that when it launched, like the amount of players that they had online at the time wasn't really high, because I think it did less than like 60,000 players during its global launch. But that was a different time, and I don't know, things change, but I feel like the nostalgia of the Fantasy Star series in general, and the fact that we're getting a Fantasy Star Online 3, that's something that would definitely, like, especially if like images leaked or we saw gameplay footage, it's something that I'm pretty sure would trend on social media, because it's something that a lot of people didn't think would ever happen. Like it'd be like if Well, maybe to a lesser extent, it'd be like if we got like a Titanfall 3, you know what I mean? Now, obviously, Titanfall is more popular in Western countries than it is in the East, but I don't know. It's one of those things that a lot of people they want to happen, and after a while, they just give up on the possibility of it happening, and then you see like an announcement or a trailer leak or something like that. A lot of people's heads would explode if about the thought of that even being a thing. So it's quite possible that if Sega plans on making another Fantasy Star Online game, that it's going to get a lot of like mainstream attention, and it's going to like trend on social media. But the thing is, Sega hasn't necessarily gone out yet and has confirmed that or anything like that. And even if they do confirm it, I have no idea when they would plan on releasing that. And the reason I say that is because like Sega has mentioned that they planned on reviving older IPs. Obviously, Fantasy Stars One, Jet Set Radio, Streets of Rage. Um, there are definitely some others I'm missing. Like I think Golden Axe. There are IPs that they want to revive because people are familiar with them and they feel like those franchises are still profitable and they still appeal to like old school gamers. But but yeah, I mean, I have no idea like if this is going to happen or not. But the thing is, like, I believe it was revealed about a month or two ago that Sega had just canceled like a super game project or something like that, and it makes me wonder how well Sega's doing financially if they're canceling something like that. So it's just like I hope, like, if Fantasy Star Online 3 is like secretly in development, I hope it doesn't get scrapped. I hope it sees the light of day, and I hope we do get an announcement from Sega about this game if it is true that they're trying to develop this. But yeah, Fantasy Star Online 3, I never thought, this is something that would possibly happen. If it does happen, then and again, I do feel like it's going to end up being more successful than Fantasy Star Online 2.